Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Heather. I am the Busy Hooker. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe and the notification bell. If you are returning, welcome back, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I am so happy to see all of you. I have been tagged by Pricilla over at Distinctive Crochet in the 10 crochet and or knitting questions tag. I will link her information down below. So these are going to be 10 questions about crochet or knitting, just to kind of get to know each other better. And if you want to answer some of these questions in the comments down below, feel free. Or if you've done this video or you're going to do this video, I have officially tagged you. Feel free to link your channel or your 10 crochet/knitting questions video down below as well. So the first question is, how long have you been crocheting or knitting? So I have been surrounded by crochet and knitting pretty much my whole life. Both my grandma and my mom do both. They did try to get me into it when I was younger, and it just wasn't really clicking. So after I got married to my first husband, he joined the Navy, and while he was studying nuclear mechanics and while he was out on deployments, that's when I decided to kind of pick up a hook and yarn. And I actually learned, I think it was, like 2010-ish when I actually started trying to learn. So it's been like 11 years maybe. I would still call myself intermediate as far as that goes. I also tried to learn knitting at that point, and I'm just not great at it. So I guess technically I've been knitting for 11 years as well, but not really, because I haven't been knitting the whole time. I've just tried it once or twice. The second question is, how did you learn to crochet or knit? So I actually, like I mentioned before, my mom and my grandma bought me beginners kits and all that kind of stuff. But again, I didn't really click until later on in life, and my mom sent me this link to knitwitch.com, which I don't know if that website still exists, but they had links to beginner videos on YouTube. And this was before I really started using YouTube for anything, but their videos really helped me learn all the basics of everything. And then it just kind of went on from there. I started utilizing YouTube more for learning new stitches and that kind of thing, because I'm a very visual and hands-on learner. The third question is, what made you want to learn to crochet or knit? So the fact that my mom and my grandma had been doing it my whole life was a huge factor, but also I was a housewife. I didn't have any kids. I don't still have any kids, but I wasn't in school. I didn't know anybody where we lived, and so I needed something to do other than sitting on Facebook playing Facebook games all day. So that's when I decided I'm going to do this. Number 4, what is the first thing that you crocheted or knitted? So the first thing, probably for both, was just a practice square. I just crocheted a chain that seemed big enough, and then I just went back and forth with the basic stitches, and I kept doing more and more stitches. I would do single crochet, half double, double, half triple, triple. Same with knitting. But the first actual item, that's a really good question. Probably a scarf for both, just because it was simple. It was very similar to the practice square I'd done, and it was very repetitive. Number 5, what is the last thing that you crocheted or knitted? So the last thing I finished was a granny square, and you can actually go check out that crochet along. I just put up a video for it last week. I will actually link that down below and in a card up in the right hand corner as well. The last thing I knitted was a scarf. That was the first and the last thing I ever knitted. And it took way too long. I didn't like it. Number 6, what is the last stitch or technique that you learned how to crochet or knit? So the last stitch I learned for crochet was the popcorn stitch. I already knew how to do the puff stitch, which is similar, but for the Mayflower granny square crochet along, I had to learn the popcorn stitch. The last technique I learned was the Tunisian simple stitch for the March granny square, and I am a fan of that, and at the same time I'm not. So I'm a fan of it for just using it in my projects, but I'm not a fan of recording that for videos because it was just too much for me to handle and I got really overwhelmed with that. Number 7, what are you currently crocheting or knitting? So my current projects, I have 2 major projects right now. I'm trying to finish an amigurumi that I want to put a speed crochet video up for. And then I am also in the middle of a twin-sized corner-to-corner thin blue line flag blanket, and that is taking way too long, but I'm gonna really try to finish that, and posting speed crochets of that will hold me accountable. I already have like 3 or 4 up, so go check that out on my channel if you want. Number 8, what is something that you want to learn how to crochet or knit? I would love to learn how to crochet lounge pants. I always thought if you use the right yarn, maybe some fuzzy yarn, Lion brand or something, that those could turn out really comfy and cozy. So I would really love to learn how to do that. Number 9, what has been your worst frogging experience with crochet or knit? So, I was making, similar to my thin blue line blanket, I was making a twin size corner-to-corner American flag blanket for my in-laws for Christmas. I was doing it on a live stream on a different channel that I no longer upload to, and I was just going along. I was chatting with my viewers, having fun, and I was probably over halfway through the blanket. So from one corner to the other furthest corner, I was already past that, or right at that point, or just past it maybe. And that's a lot. That's like a ton of stitches for a twin size blanket. So think of a twin size blanket from one corner to the diagonal corner away from that. With a flag blanket, you can tell when you've done a stitch incorrectly. It's a group of 3 double crochets, and if you get it wrong, suddenly the lines in your flag start getting narrower and the lines on either side of it are bigger, and it just looks really dumb. I noticed that I was off on one of the lines on my flag about 3 or 4 rows after I'd already done it, and I had to rip out probably 100 or so stitches, maybe even more, because it wasn't, sometimes you make a mistake and you can kind of correct it as you go, or it's not something anyone else will see. This was definitely noticeable. So I had to tear out so many stitches. I just got so frustrated, and I ended the stream and I was like, nah, we're done. I did fix it. It just took a while to get the motivation up to do that again, because it was just so tedious and like disheartening. The other thing, it wasn't something I had to frog, but it was something that fell apart. I made my husband's nephew a kind of a pixelated blanket, but I think it was a stormtrooper from Star Wars, and I had just made it up of a bunch of little, this was before I knew corner-to-corner crochet, I had made it up of a bunch of little tiny granny squares so it wouldn't end up being too big. And it was beautiful. I took pictures of it when I was done, but before I threw it in the wash. And apparently I did not secure my tails in the center of the granny squares correctly, because when I pulled it out of the wash, it just fell apart. It all fell apart. It was infuriating. I probably did not crochet a single thing in the year after that. Number 10, what project that you have crocheted or knitted have you been most proud of? Definitely my American flag blanket. That thing ended up being so beautiful. It didn't fall apart. I used Yarn Bee Soft Secret, I think, for that, and it just ended up being this beautiful masterpiece. I'm in love with it. I think one of the stars may have been off by a little bit, but not a big deal. But that is 10 crochet and or knit questions about me. Again, if you have not done this video, I don't know anyone who has not done this video yet. If I do, I'm sorry, I don't know. But I am officially, if you're watching this and you want to do this video, if you want to do this challenge, you are officially tagged by me, the Busy Hooker. So link your channel, link your video down below, and I will go and watch it. And that's about it. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video so that YouTube will recommend it to more viewers like you. And follow me on Instagram and Pinterest. I think that's about it. So until next time, guys, happy crafting.